It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hold a string to do to download even. So it was there's a seat day. I'm set up in Crown and Castle Pub, and so you could hear some noise. You can always access the podcast via my blog, which is all the big guys, Amazon podcast for calls. Also this morning, itinerary changes for the Mardi Gras. Icon of the Seas opens bookings. Celebrity Beyond arrives in the U.S. Valiant Lady to arrive on October the 30th. For our friends on the other side of the pond, Arvia's debut has been delayed. Costa cancels Asian Homeports. And Royal Caribbean returns to Thailand. That and a lot more here at 11 o'clock this morning. And again, folks, I have no idea if you're seeing this or not seeing this. I was unable to promote the show like I normally do prior to a show starting. So we're just kind of flying by the seat of my pants until I can figure out what to do. So anyway, we'll see how it goes doing it on the phone. Haven't figured out yet how to get the phone when I'm streaming to change the configuration so I'm normal instead of up and down like it is now. So I'll have to figure that one out as well. Today, folks, by the way, is National Chicken Fried Steak Day. Now, if I was home, there's a couple places that I know I could go get some chicken fried steak. I kind of like that every now and then. I realize it's unhealthy. It's fattening as all get out. It's very unlikely that I can find chicken fried steak on this cruise ship. But anyway, if you're listening from at home, go out and get some chicken fried steak today. That would be pretty cool. So, again, folks, this is kind of a test run here to see how this goes. At least I finally got StreamYard working on my phone. Yesterday, I could not get StreamYard working any way, shape, or form. I tried doing a live yesterday. That didn't work. I also tried a couple of Facebook lives. That didn't work. So I have a feeling it's because of the signal, but I'm not 100% sure. All right, a couple of things to touch on real quick before I get to today's news. Embarkation yesterday in Tampa. You know, I've cruised from a lot of ports on a lot of ships over the years. That may be the easiest embarkation I've ever done. One good reason, or at least a major portion of that, this was the first time I've done a Royal Caribbean cruise where they allowed Scoot Around to deliver the scooter to the terminal. Actually, it was on the sidewalk outside the terminal. My Uber driver pulled up. I got out of the Uber and took 2 steps and sat down on my scooter. And of course, the guys were there to check the bags and do all those things that you normally do. And then, of course, I went straight to the check-in and the security and all the stuff you do. Of course, I have to get wanded because of my hips. I can't go through the magnetometer, whatever that thing is with the beeps if you got anything in your pocket. But anyway, so we did all that. Did the check-in with Royal Caribbean. From the time I got out of the Uber until I was on board Serenade of the Seas was 13 minutes. I've never done anything that quickly before. So I was able to spend a good deal of the time yesterday doing a lot of my filming and stuff. I got oodles of it done, but then I started having the issues that I couldn't do lives. I couldn't get things to upload. The signal in my cabin is real wonky. It comes and goes. At least from what I can tell, and I can't tell a whole lot, folks, it looks like, at least from what I'm seeing on my phone, that this is going through. I hope it's that way. We'll see what happens. I'll try to put some pictures up. All right. I'll be back with today's news after a word from one of our network sponsors. All right, guys. Carnival Cruise Line has updated its have fun and be safe protocols. They did this last night by ditching the majority of the requirements. The Miami-based cruise line no longer requires vaccines and testing, making a cruise vacation almost back to normality. However, there are still some requirements of cruises 16 nights or longer. In a letter that I received last night, of course, I'm going on Carnival in here in about 10 days or so, not even 10 days now, on the 5th. Letter I received last night, consistent with the evolving public guidelines, we have continued to update our protocols over the last several weeks. In summary, vaccines, proof of vaccination, and testing for unvaccinated guests are no longer required on cruises of 15 nights or less. However, we encourage all guests 5 years or older to take a pre-cruise test within 3 days of the cruise. So they are, asking that you get a pre-cruise test, but it's not mandatory. They're just asking it. Also note that Carnival's Verifly Pass is no longer necessary for check-in. And I had mine all ready to go for the cruise on the 5th on Carnival Paradise, but it's no longer required. So there are still requirements for longer sailings of 16 nights or more. Guests that are 18 or over must be fully vaccinated, including any booster shots. If unvaccinated guests want to sail on longer cruisers, they must apply for an exemption for 2023. Guests age 5 and older must present a PCR or antigen test taken within 3 days before departure. When it comes to Carnival, there are still requirements in place for 3 cruise destinations. The one that I was not aware of, Grand Turk and Turks and Caicos, Cartagena and Colombia, still will not allow unvaccinated guests age 18 or over to go ashore. And even though the popular island of Bermuda has recently relaxed its rules, all guests must still apply for the travel authorization form, and it costs you $40. So, and that's for anybody 2 years or older. Carnival Cruise Line now, of course, follows other major cruise lines that have already dropped the protocols and these restrictions, like Norwegian, Princess, and Royal Caribbean. Also from Carnival, 21 sailings on the Carnival Mardi Gras have changed itineraries. Mardi Gras will no longer be visiting San Juan, Puerto Rico. Instead, the ship will call on Nassau on 21 sailings that start December 31st and go through April 15th of 2024. Each of the sailings that are affected is a 7-night Eastern Caribbean itinerary. The confusing part is there are other Eastern Caribbean itineraries that Mardi Gras is sailing, and they're going to San Juan. So there's no consistency in this. So if you're on a Mardi Gras cruise and it makes a difference whether you go to San Juan or not, you need to check that specific cruise because it's totally confusing. And one of the other things I get aggravated that they, continue to not be totally transparent and change when they change things. All right. Enough for Carnival. Icon of the Seas is officially open for reservation with a lineup of 28 types of guest accommodations. By now, everybody's seen the videos that are out on what to expect in Icon of the Seas next year. Royal Caribbean's anticipated edition will begin cruising, they hope, in January of 2024 as the first in the cruise line's revolutionary Icon class and the largest cruise ship in the world by gross tonnage. Of course, the main question when they open up bookings, how much is that puppy going to cost? You're looking at a minimum of $1,000, folks, and up. So at least for the time being, there won't be any bargains to go on Icon of the Seas, nor is there any deal for solos. They're 100% add-on. So a solo on Icon, you're looking at $2,000 and up. All right, the Celebrity Beyond, the third in the Celebrity Cruise Line's Edge class of vessels, sailed past the Statue of Liberty yesterday as it arrived in New York City for the first time. This marks the ship's North American debut after a summer spent in Europe and is a quick visit before the ship heads to its winter home port, Port Everglades, Florida. That, of course, is Fort Lauderdale. My favorite captain at sea, Captain Kate, is at the helm. I tried to message her this morning just to see if I could get her on for today's show, and got no response. I have chatted several times with Captain Kate, so maybe one of these days we'll get her on the show. Meanwhile, as soon as she makes her way across the Atlantic, preparations for the arrival of Valiant Lady to Miami are in full swings. The cruise ship, the second for Richard Branson's Virgin Voyages cruise brand, will arrive in Port Miami on the 30th of October. Valiant Lady will join her sister ship Scarlet Lady, on sailings to the Caribbean from Miami, the new Terminal 5, which is Virgin Voyages' new terminal. All right, for you guys on the other side of the pond, P&O Cruises has been contacting book guests to inform them of the cancellation of the inaugural sailing of the new Arvia, originally scheduled to debut from Southampton on December 9th. Only the first sailing is now canceled. The ship will still sail on its planned December 23rd departure. While further details behind the cancellation are not provided, it's likely there's supply chain delays that have impacted the vessel's finishing details. Arvia is P&O's first new ship since Iona debuted in 2020. As many countries in Asia continue to uphold strict pandemic-related travel restrictions, Costa Cruises has decided to cancel all sailings from East Asian home ports for the time being, while the cruise line still intends to operate in the future, the restructuring focuses on options that are currently more open for international travel. Asian nations, particularly China, still maintain very strict, even zero tolerance international travel protocols with respect to COVID pandemic, and the protocols have changed very quickly in response to local case counts. This may make it very difficult for any prospective cruisers to travel to Asian home ports before or after a cruise, as different testing and quarantine protocols must be met. Another blow for Asian cruises. At the same time, we had a positive story for Asian cruises. After nearly 3 years, a cruise ship has returned to Thailand, a significant breakthrough for cruises in Asia. Royal Caribbean Spectrum of the Seas arrived in Phuket on Monday morning, anchoring outside the famous Patong Beach. Cruising in Asia has been dealt several blows over the last few years, with many countries implementing strict regulations for tourists. This meant cruise lines have been canceling cruises in the region en masse. However, the arrival of Spectrum of the Seas could be a turning point. All right, guys, that actually is going to wrap up today's news show. I have no idea if I can even see the comment section from the phone, so I'm going to check and see if that shows anywhere, so I can see if anybody is over there and can check on comments. It does not show there, and I don't want to end the broadcast, so let's check to see just by chance if it shows on the computer, and it's just spinning, which is normal. So, oh, comments. Oh, now maybe I did find a place to do it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I do have some comments. So let me go over here and see who's with me today. All right. Yo, Brooklyn is in the house, Eddie. Good to see you again, as always. Glad you guys are on. I hope everybody you can see and hear me by doing it on the phone. Nikki's with us. Hi, Nikki. Keep breaking up, Mr. Chill. I was worried about that. So, yeah, sorry. Mike says the same here. Well, I'm not sure how to correct this, and I think this is just the Wi-Fi. I was kind of afraid of that. So like I say, I couldn't get on the computer at all. Maybe I'll try it upstairs later today. As Mike says, it stopped breaking up now. Well, we'll see. If you get through it, fine. If you don't, that's fine too. Nikki says chicken fried steak is the steak meal of Oklahoma. Wow, who didn't know that? Along with mashed taters and fried okra. Oh yeah, that's my kind of a meal. I'm an old Southern boy, and I could just dig that, Nick. Great little restaurant in Noble, Oklahoma. Makes my mouth water. Awesome. And by the way, folks, while we're in the chat room, let's, a little thought from everybody for Hot Air Tom's wife. She's in surgery right now, sometime today. I think it maybe right now, as a matter of fact. So hope all goes well there. There's Hot Air Tom. I'm here. Cindy just went up to surgery. I'm in the waiting area. Okay. Well, we're thinking about Cindy. You tell her we send our love. Dennis is with us. Hi, Dennis. Well, I guess this has worked somewhat, at least, folks. Katie's here. She's officially booked on the inaugural sailing. Congratulations, Katie, on Icon of the Seas. I knew you guys were trying to get on it. So, I don't know. Katie, you might have enough money. You need to adopt me, darling. I'm just teasing, of course. Prayers for Cindy. Everybody agrees with that. Dennis says wait at least 6 months for a new ship's cruise to get settled in. Always avoid the first cruises. Never worth it. Book last minute for saving on those newer ships. Well, I'm doing an inaugural here in a couple of weeks on the MSC Seascape. It'll be the first inaugural I've done, so I don't know. I can't speak to that one, Dennis, because this will be a new experience for me. The solo balcony staterooms on P&O are very nice. I've never sailed on P&O. That's one of the, again, I'm gonna have to make myself get on an airplane and fly to Europe and do some cruising over there before it's over with. I can see that now. I'd love to do some of the like P&O ships, and there's several cruise lines over there that I'd like to try. I'd also like to do a river cruise, but we'll see. Dennis saying hello to Mike, and he missed it earlier. Last time I saw Chillie's broadcast, I couldn't see any bridge ahead. Yeah, well, it takes 2 hours. I meant to say that earlier. From when you sail, it's 2 hours until you get under the bridge. I stayed up on the deck looking for the bridge for over an hour, and it was getting close to dinner time, and I didn't want to miss my first dinner on this ship. So I said, "That the hell with the bridge." So yeah, I was actually in the dining room when we went under the bridge, and you could see it. It's really cool. So the next time one way or another, I'm going to try to be where I can film that because it's pretty awesome to see that bridge and go right under it, and it's pretty close. That I can see why the bigger ships cannot do this because it seems like we just barely got under it. So, let's see. Dennis says, yep, too many glitches on the first sail and running around. Yep. I hear you clearly. Well, that part's good. Was fine after I posted no longer breaking up. Well, I'm glad. Maybe I've just got to do everything on the phone. Of course, if I could figure out, okay, I'm not technically oriented at all, folks. I'm holding the phone in my hand because my selfie stick thingy, that has a stand, it only goes this direction, and that's the only thing the camera will do that I figured out so far. So I don't want to do it upside down. So I got to hold it until I figure out how to reorient the thing back to the normal horizontal instead of vertical. I think that's correct. You just have to keep expectations. I check because they have to work out kinks. It's the excitement of a first cruise. Okay. Sail transatlantic to come across the pond. P&O is owned by Carnival Corporation, mostly for UK market. Yeah, that's one of the things I've thought about is just sailing across. So, Katie says on your ship for Thanksgiving. Am I on a ship for Thanksgiving? I'm not. Chillie, when you sail transatlantic, the ship's onboard time is adjusted daily, so there's no jet lag. Yeah, I can appreciate that. Transatlantic both ways is the best. Okay, I'd like to do that too, folks. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. Again, I'm glad to have gotten on. I have no idea if this thing will kick in to end the show. I wasn't sure that the first intro made it up, but we'll see. So anyway, that's going to wrap me up for today. Hopefully, I'll get to a live stream somewhere on the ship later in the day. Let me try to get all this stuff processed and the podcast up first, and we'll see. I might be pulling my hair out by then. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a fantastic day.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.